Hey there, Evan here. I'm gonna try to keep this video pretty short. Um, and this time I'm actually going to make an effort to. Um, well, actually, I'm not going to invalidate myself like that. I always make an effort to. Either way. um, yeah, I've kind of been going through some stuff. But that being said, I didn't want to leave y'all hanging any longer like than right now. And so, basically, I'm doing this at night, and I'm going to share this with y'all tonight. Um, uh, Um, uh, for my people living in the United States, it might show up as being in the morning because it's like 11 something over here in Texas. And so, that being said, oh, also, I know I mentioned this in previous videos, but my eye or eyes are still experiencing some wateriness. That being said, um, wow, as soon as I turned the camera on, I just realized how much more stuff I have to share with you. Because like there's just so many other things. So it's just like I can't stay away from this like that much longer, can I? It's like I can't specifically I can't stay away from making from pressing record and making a video for too long because I'm really getting something out of this. Like it's like as soon as it's like I understand like the reason my videos are so long because it's like as soon as I like turn the camera on, all these different ideas they all just come in, and they always come in, but they are coming into focus now. It's just like, oh snap, I can do some real stuff with this. Oh snap. And also, like basically I feel I'm even a bit more liberated because I am not holding myself to the idea of like uploading one video every single day because like I already like showed that I could do that for like over a month. With that being said, it's cool because like I learned a lot from that experience, and also I learned that I don't necessarily have to be all that consistent like in order to get my point across. I can screw things up, like so to speak. I don't really believe in mistakes in the same way that other people think of them. I don't really believe in failures as being eh, as being nothing but detrimental. In the sense that like I believe that failure stands for first attempt in learning and understanding really everything. um yeah, so it's like the thing is that mistakes are a part of learning. And so like sure you can call them mistakes, but if you but in every moment if someone were to make a mistake, then they wouldn't say, oh like, oh, I'm about to make a mistake, if they were really like listening to what their heart was telling them, because in every moment every person does exactly what they think is the best thing to do with the better portion of their judgment. And that portion doesn't necessarily you have to be one or two. It can be a part for every different choice that you could possibly make. Even the choice to move my hand just then, it's like that was one like that I used out of my better judgment. And sure I was using it for an educational purpose. And also it's fascinating because it's like I seem to be running my mouth. But that being said, part of this is because I'm actually off of medication, like basic, and I'm still taking like supplements and stuff, but but as far as like psych medications, like for my emotional health and different things like that, I'm actually off of them. And it feels good to actually be off of them. And most people around me think that like, oh, Evan's out of control. And it's like, to an extent, you're right. But that being said more specifically, I'm out of outside control, and I'm more so learning how to be with the different nuances of my mind as I go. And the thing is that I'm not. I, And the thing is that a lot of people in the mental health community, they'd be like, get back on your meds, Evan, and all these different things. And it's just like, the thing is, like, I've spent just about 7 years of my life just about consistently on meds, and I've seen the good, bad, the ugly, and the indifferent. And but I haven't seen the absolute best because they all, even the very best ones, tend to have like a dulling effect, like a buffer on me. Like, I won't speak for everyone, but like, but I'm speaking for the people who feel as though what I'm like saying about my experience resonates with their own. And so if you feel the way that I feel about it, then like, cool. Congratulations, you're not alone. I feel that same way too. Either way, I'm kind of turned over this way because I wanted to show y'all. I'm like, if you've seen some of my other videos, then you have also seen that basically, like every so often, like I, well, not every so often, almost always have I I almost always have a vinyl record on display. Like that's basically it's like my now playing section, and it's on this shelf right here. And this album is from 1990. It's called Violator by a very interesting band called Depeche Mode. And really, it's like basically like Linkin Park is my favorite, or basically Linkin Park is my favorite band, and a large part of what and a large part of what ended up bringing me to Depeche Mode was I was like in part this idea of like exploring the question of like what is your favorite band's favorite band. And Mike and Chester from Linkin Park, both of them love Depeche Mode. In fact, Mike did a remix of Enjoy the Silence in like what 2004 or 2003 or like it was sometime like toward the tail end of the Meteor era. But that being said, and trust me, I understand like this video is kind of all over the place, and so it's like but the thing is that I'm making this video so that I um like am like able to pull myself through whatever is holding me from making more videos. And yeah, yeah, like I'm making this video where I spill all my thoughts out and I'm like getting all these things out of the way so that whatever is behind it that wants to get out can actually have a way to get out. I'm basically like moving the stone. And it's funny because it's Sunday, the third day, Jesus rose again, all the different things. Um, I hope you guys can hear me well. And um, um, but that being said, yeah, it's like I pointed out Violator because like I'm very happy that I got this record on vinyl. I ordered it off of Amazon like earlier this month, and oh my gosh, it's like I was already like in love with the album. Like I had already heard the whole thing before I bought it on vinyl, but oh my gosh, it was just like it's cool because it's really helping me in this era of my life. And it's funny because the guys from Depeche Mode were around like the age that I'm at now, like mid 20s going into late 20s, like around the time that they made Violator. And so it's just like, ooh. And it's also cool because like Dave, the lead singer of Depeche Mode, he believes that he and the primary songwriter and composer of Depeche Mode, Martin Gore, he believes that, like Dave believes that both he and Martin are autistic, which is funny because it's just like, wait a minute, are you telling me that like a whole huge part of this album, including like including like basically all of the different vocals, like all came from autistic minds? That one, that's amazing. Two, I'm not all that surprised, and or two, that tracks, and three, by extension, I'm not all that surprised. Either way, um I hope you guys like a more like some might say frenetic or just active, more um less scripted Evan. Um and to get personal with it, like if you personally do like this, I want to know like in a comment if you kind of like this sort of like unscripted like like train of thought um like I'm not going to use the whole flight of ideas thing because again it's like I don't believe that this is like a manic state that I'm in. I feel like that's just a label that people ascribe to my experience because they are too afraid to step into my world to understand it. Because I understand it to a great amount, like not to say that I understand everything that I experience, because that kind of takes it, and that takes a lot of awareness to understand every aspect of what you're experiencing. And like, sure, you can understand it in like a ballpark way, like you can be like, "Oh, snap!" So, and it's funny to quote, Dave from Depeche Mode, in their from latest album. The first song is called "My Cosmos Is Mine," and it's just like my cosmos is mine. Anyways, um, it's funny. It's fun just like speaking to you, like I'm just like this, and it's just like it's like speaking to my friend Jordan. We're both musicians, and 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 it's cool because like I just get to share all these different things in like a free form way. However, I um I set the intention whenever I turned on the camera for this video for it to have a specific title. Well, for it to have a title that isn't like I'm spilling out this huge train of thought. um, um, in the sense that really I wanted to let y'all know the final straw that broke the camel's back. It, it's like in the Halloween episode of SpongeBob Scaredy Pants, like whenever he said like whenever the Flying Dutchman like came into the party and he crashed it and like criticized everybody for 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 essentially reducing essentially reducing the Dutchman's like entire like existence into a costume for Halloween. He was like, every year people dress like me, turning the Flying Dutchman's name into a laughing stock. Like, and then he and then he turns over to SpongeBob and he's like, and then he turns over to SpongeBob and he's just like, but no, this is the straw that broke the camel's back. Out of all the Dutchman costumes I've seen, yours is the most insulting. um, yeah, yeah, yeah. And so basically, like for this video, I want to let y'all know like the final straw that broke the camel's back in in um in ending this nearly 8-day video recording drought. Or actually, by now it probably is just about 8 days. That being said, um, very interesting to me. Like this is something that I've sort of like had some understanding of for like over 7 years now. And I feel a lot of resistance saying it. I'm kind of getting worked up like thinking about it. Um, but that being said, um, but that being said, um, I find it very fascinating that I am well. It's very fast. It's very fascinating to me, and it's like, and if you're autistic or otherwise neurodivergent, you'll probably really relate to this as well. Um, it's very fascinating that for all my life, people have sort of been like, people who have like labeled me as being autistic, or people who have described my particular type of being different as being autistic. They People who have used that label in a clinical sense mostly. Like they have always thought, oh, so it's like basically like in the giant tree of neurology, like Evan is just this, and it's like Evan's neurology like represents this, like instead of being in the trunk where all the neurotypical people are, he's just like way out here on eh, this this tiny little limb of a bigger branch, which makes him so different from normal, or so different from common, as I'll say, that he's basically an otherwise normal person with just a whole lot of autism, just like that's sort of the way that no, 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 actually that's very much the way that most people um have been taught to perceive me. But but it's fascinating because it's fascinating because it took me about and it's fascinating because for about the first 19, almost 20 years of my life, I really believed that. And it was really painful because like it didn't give me really any sort of like shot at properly cultivating a sense of self, because people were always trying to get me to conform. Um, and and the amount of tolerance in like a black family, um, um, or lack thereof, rather, it's very, it makes it very difficult because there are like certain things that you have to like adapt to, or else you like risk um being screwed up by even more emotional um like attacks and trauma and invalidation and different things like that. And it's fascinating because like it wasn't until I was just about to hit my 20s like where I began to realize um that like it's not that I'm like some like really odd alien like mutation, like the of what's considered common in society. It's more so that like like instead of being a part of the tree of the neurotypical, like it's more so that I'm a like it's more so that I'm a tree planted right next to it. And so it's a and another way of thinking about this that a lot of people of color um tend to relate to more and that resonates with them more is this idea that is this idea that like people who are wired different, people who are autistic in my case, like they're simply built different. Like I'm built different. And then whenever I say that, people like get super defensive, and especially if they feel insecure about the way that they are, they're just like, "Oh snap, you think you better than us?" And I'm just like, "No, it's not about that." At the end of the day, it's like I'm just trying to understand. It's like I'm just a traumatized dude who's just trying to understand his own, who's just trying to understand the tenets of his own reality. And all my life people have been trying to assign me their own. I just like, well, yeah, I'm glad that those make sense for you to the extent that they do, but that being said, like one, those don't make sense to me, and two, if they don't make sense to me, like what sense does it make to try to cram me into something that doesn't work for me. Like, it doesn't make sense to me that that's the case. It's like, it just like, and it's also weird that people are so proper deterministic about it that they're just like there is no other way. It has to work this way. And so it just like basically, and it's like, so basically it's like my caregivers, like teachers, parents, society, daycare people, like like they're, it's like early therapists, any of them were just like, I'm sorry, actually I'm not like sorry for like expressing myself. I'm more so and so, I just I want to let you know what happened just then. Like I got triggered by a realization that I'm still sort of processing, and that's the like there were some therapists who, or at the time there were some therapists, like when I was younger, who were trying to change me into something that I wasn't, and it was like all under the guise of like your parents sent me here to try to help you. But and I was discouraged strongly from questioning that sort of thing. And so it's just like, huh. But it's fascinating because the thing that I like wanted to ask them, that I felt it was in my best interest not to ask them, but that I can ask now, is like, what were they so afraid of, like in me asking a question? Like, if these people are trying to help me, wouldn't they want some input from the person they're trying to help? It's like I'm not a helpless child. It's like certainly at that age, it's like I was like early teens around that time, and I was just like that's what triggered me just then. That's what caused that pause, and hey, and I stopped what I was saying because I think that it's important for y'all to understand where I'm coming from and why things happen the way that they do. Because sometimes like I pause, or like I struggle to get my new thoughts out in a clear and coherent way, or in a commonly accepted as being clear and coherent way. Um, Oftentimes because there are too many thoughts going on in my head, and like I just get tripped up sometimes. With that being said, and I say that because it's different from like stuttering per se. Like it's a different sort of speech difference. And sure, it impedes like quote unquote proper speech. But that being said, it's not. It's like I don't think that it's an impairment, because that points to an idea that there's only one right way to speak. When in my experience, there is no like wrong way to speak, because there is no one right way to speak. It, and again, it ties back to my key to life. It's like it's more so like, is the way that you're speaking helping you? And in every moment, it is helping me, because I'm saying what I have to say and I'm speaking as needed. Um, and at the end of the day, all things considered, with all the crazy sensory information and multi-sensory and extrasensory information that I experience, it's just like I'm still doing my best. In fact, I'm doing extremely well, like all things considered. The people had access to all the different sensory information that I um like have no choice but to have access to. Um like essentially it's like like to put it delicately, they couldn't take it. Like their minds would probably collapse. Like it's like standing on the surface of the sun versus standing on the surface of the earth. But perhaps in some cases, people are more so, but, but perhaps in some cases, people are more so used to standing on the moon, which has even lighter gravity. But the sun is no joke. Um, anyways, um, so the thing that I really wanted to say is just that, like, I'm airing my frustration to anyone who might be able to understand, or anyone who else, like, or anyone else who feels as though they can relate to this, slash anyone, because like a large part of why I'm sharing this is because I don't feel connected with people like immediately around me. I don't feel like I have all that many people I can be open with, and the people who I feel as though I can, they aren't like super close to me. Like they're each on their own paths, and like and like having that day to day connection is just not really um like a viable option now. It's like I could go to one of them, or I could go to, or I could split my time between, I could split my time between some of them, but it's just like I wouldn't, but I'd be spending so much, I'd be spending so much of my time doing that that I wouldn't be able to really build anything for myself. And like even with that, it's like I would need money to travel to them, and so, and that's another thing I'm working on. And honestly, this is a part of it too. And so basically, like I read something the other day. It's like if you feel alone, like build a community. Um, and to and it's funny because it's nighttime right now, and the moon's not out. Like from like this particular from vantage point that my window provides, and so it's fascinating because it just looks like darkness. And so like essentially what I do like with my videos, and particularly with this video, is that I'm basically just shooting a shot in the dark, or just like a big old flare like into the void, that is a form of self-expression, just to see if there are other people, just to like see if there are other people, and just to try to answer the question that I, I that has been burning a hole in my soul basically all my life, which is I, it was a very simple question, but it's also but but to some people who don't really have as much experience with isolation or loneliness, they like might have trouble relating to this. But it's the idea, or at least consciously, it's the idea of like, or it's the question. It's like, I make these videos in part so as to answer a question that I have for myself, and that is, and that question is, am I as alone? eh, And that question is, am I really as alone as I feel? And every time I get a comment, it's like especially if it's a bigger comment or a longer comment with someone like, with with someone saying that my message really resonated with them, it's just like, oh snap, it's amazing. And it's cool because like in that moment it answers the question. Um, eh, eh, and shout out to another YouTuber. Her name's Janelle Rose. She's really amazing, and she like like the information she's sharing is just like solid freaking gold for anyone who's feeling like really lost in life, and who's trying to like find a new way out of a bad situation. Like I really, she's just awesome. And on my previous video where I shared my first poem, like she had commented on that one, and also commented on another video. And the thing is that it was cool because like And it was cool because like her commenting on those videos, it really shared with me like even if only in that moment, it was like, oh snap, I really am not as alone as I actually feel. Well, most of the time. And it's just like, or pretty much all the time. And it just like the thing is that it was really cool. And like, and that's another reason why yeah, like, eh, um, like invite y'all to comment and really like encourage y'all to comment um, because a large reason as to why I wanted to start this channel is to answer that question that I mentioned earlier. It's like, am I really as alone as I feel? And yeah, every time that I get a comment saying like I feel you or like anything like or anything related to that in terms of sentiment, it's like cool, it's amazing. I'm like lonely autistic boy is still connecting with people, and it's also cool because it's like even and it's also cool because like even though like I even though it looks different from the way that my parents might have wanted me to hey, wait no even wait no even though it looks different from the way that my parents had in mind with me connecting with people, I'm still glad that it has taken on any form because I know what it's like to not really be able to connect with people and to want to connect with people. So yeah, this video is very long at this point. It's like what 11:35. Yeah. Um. And really, there's no real like resolution to this video. It's more so just an expression. I'm just spilling my thoughts out, and I just want to give them to somebody, and hopefully, somebody, and hey, hey, hopefully slash I'm told that if I do that, then on some level and at some point somebody will relate to like what I'm like saying, um and they'll feel blessed by the idea that I did share it, and they might bless me back, like with a comment or just any sort of connection. And so yeah, this is a big thought spill, and the primary first of all, there doesn't have to be a primary nugget to like chew on with any of this because all of it is just pure expression. Like it's my YouTube channel. I can share whatever I have to share with y'all, with you, to get personal with it. But that being said, the fascinating thing is that like I just didn't. It's like the thing that really upset me, and I was is also prompted and I was also prompted to like share this like last to share this this like most this closest to fully formed nugget of information after after ingesting a bunch of logic content. And when I say logic content, I don't just mean like Logic's music. I was also I was also I was also listening to his like to his audiobook of his memoir called This Bright Future. And yeah, it's like I was reading it and I was like, hmm. So it's fascinating that people like clown Logic for representing peace, love, and positivity in hip hop and just like in music in general and just in life. And people hated him for it. People still kind of hate him. I mean, it's like people still. I mean, it's like people still kind of hate him for it. But that being said, like he just dropped like one of the absolute most amazing pieces of art that he may ever release. It's called Ultra 85, and my favorite track on there right now is track 20 out of 20, which is called Thank You for Believing in Me. And it's just like, man, these past 7 years that I've believed in Logic, like it brought us all to this moment where he's just like, thank you for believing in me. And I'm like, dang, I really helped him. And it's cool because like I really helped like I, and it's cool because it goes deeper than just like, oh, I help one of my favorite celebrities. It's like, no, it's like I help one of my guys. Like I saw Bob in concert like in 2017. It's like I was so close to the stage that it's like during everybody's tour, it's like I was so close to the stage at one point. It's like I was so close to the stage most of the time that when he first came out, I had to look up. It's like I had to arch my neck like up at him because like he was that close. And it was just like it was. And so like this is the man that I've seen, and this is a man that I've like watched grow and do all these different things. And I'm just like, man, all my belief in this person I admire, um, like like I blessed him and he blessed me back. And so and he didn't feel like he fit in anywhere either. And so his story inspires me. Logic's story really inspires me because it's like if what like if I'm in a dark situation where I am like built different, like I'm in a world that feels feels so very threatened by the fact that I'm just objectively built different, like putting like prejudices and hierarchies and narrow-minded like pettiness and different things like that like aside and just like saying like I am different. And it just like it's like it's like neurologically I'm fundamentally different than most people living. um for better or worse, and just say that like sure, in some cases there are things that I can do that other people can't do or can't do yet perhaps. But the thing is that I don't use that as a it's like I don't use that as a tool to hold over people's heads like in a superiority sense. Yet like each time that I like share that sort of thing with people, I'm just like it's like they just feel like, oh, he's gonna hurt me in some way. It's like I'm not gonna hurt you, not even emotionally. It's like, and at most I'm going to challenge you emotionally. It's like I'm going to challenge you emotionally to think differently a situation eh, about a situation that I pick up on the fact that I pick up on the fact is not serving you. I don't do that to threaten you. I don't do that to hurt you. I just want you to like enjoy life more. It's like Prince said. It's like, don't worry, I won't hurt you. I only want you to have some fun. Like those are the very first words that he uttered in his album 1999, which came out in 1982, ironically. Um, and actually around the same time as Thriller. But that being said, um, yeah, the thing I want to end this video on is just this idea that it's like Logic stands for peace, love, and positivity, yet people hate him. And I'm built different, just objectively, like for better or worse. It's like I'm differently like wired, which means that I see the world differently. I move in the world differently. I think differently. It's like everything about me, like it, like it's just a different way of being a human. And and all I want to do is learn and create, which is a form of learning, and then also share my creations with the world and share my ideas with the world. eh, those first two I'm very good at naturally, but the third one, it's kind of it's it's stressing me out because like people don't seem to be in a good enough state of mind to understand that I'm not trying to hurt them with the things that I like have to share with them. They think the different is scary. They think the different is a threat. They think the different is death. But the thing, and when you think about it, and when you break it down on an emotional level, it's like it basically is death. But that being said, I think the best way that I can help people to understand that like I'm not the one to be attacked is to show them that I'm nothing to be afraid of. And is to show them that hey, like it's okay. You can. It's like it's okay. It's like I think differently and I am different, but it's like and like you can't really turn me into something that makes more sense to you, especially if you're thinking more of like what society like deems acceptable to think about or appropriate to think about. But that being said, it's like sure, it's like you don't control me and you can't and you like never will. And sure I'm different, but I, and it's understandable that you're like afraid, but that being said, like that doesn't necessarily it's like but that doesn't necessarily have to mean that I'm your enemy either. Like like different doesn't have to be as scary as society makes it out to be. It can just be, hey, I'm different. I care about you. I still love you. And I just want to, and I just want to be able to connect with you. And also, I'm a creative person. I have some stuff to share with you. It's like, check out this song I made. Check out this painting I made. Check out this design I made. Check out this car, this electrostatic generator. True story, by the way. I made the thing. But yeah, like the thing is that people just I just want people to understand that like I'm not something that you have to fear. I'm not something that you have to like shy away from like in order to protect your own peace because I think the best way to protect your peace in an emotional sense, like if there's a physical tornado, then if there's a physical tornado, like please run like far away from that tornado or drive far away from that tornado, like stay away from that because that can literally screw up your physical body. But if there's an emotional thing that appears to be a tornado, like your fear of people who are different, things like that, then in that case, it works a little different because you can run into that tornado and if you keep I, I, and most people think like oh like it's like oh like Evan like why in the heck would you run like towards a tornado even if even if it's an emotional tornado it's like well to quote Earl Nightingale well look at the alternative if you want to like make it into something that's scary in a different way but perhaps a more approachable way it's basically it's like if you're stuck in your house or stuck in your apartment if you're stuck in a room with your fear and you're still in resistance to it it's two things. You can either let it chase you around the room, or you can turn around and face off with it. And again, I want you to understand that it's not lost on me how scary that can be and how scary it often is. I want you to understand that I understand that, like that conversation, eh, that, eh, that, that conversation when you decide to have it, or if you decide to have it, um, it's really rough, and it starts off with a bunch. And it's like, and it's really rough and it starts off with a bunch of yelling and a bunch of things. But that being said, it doesn't have to end in physical violence in the same way that like a physically externalized like argument would have to end. Because the thing is that like this room that you like this room that you and your fear are in, like it's in your mind and it's in your being. And so the thing is that like I just got done watching Deadpool and Wolverine like the day that it came out, or the evening, eh, or the evening of the Friday that it came out. And the thing is that like I feel as though the bodies of Deadpool and Wolverine are really like great metaphors for like what our emotional bodies can handle. It's like we can get stabbed by something that scares us, and then like we can like take the sword out or take the claw out or take the knife out, and then we can start healing like emotionally. It's like you can't do that like physically like as readily as you can do it emotionally. But since we're talking about emotion and sort of like how to, as some people say, get out of your own way, um it's important for people to understand like, hey, um like sure it might be scary, but um and it might really hurt you emotionally, but just because it hurts doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to like die from it. And so going back to the tornado analogy, the emotional tornado analogy, if you run into it and let yourself get sucked into it, essentially like what you'll find is that like you're being present with it actually causes it to dissipate over time, and like not like over years per se, but just I'm talking about like if you're present with it after if you're present with it for a certain time, then the emotional tornado starts to weaken and you start to actually learn what's underneath that fear and what is fueling that fear. And then if you can bear to grab that piece of information that the fear is trying to sort of like guide you towards in a very like frightening way, for lack of better words, if you can bring yourself and so if you can bring yourself to grab that piece of information, then like in my experience, the tornado dissipates and you get brought back down to the ground and you're armed with a new piece of information that helps you to know what you want. And if it's coming from fear, then it's typically a way, like essentially in my experience, the way that fear works is that it teaches you what you want by like letting you know what you don't want, like in the form of the physiological feeling or feelings associated with fear. And so, dang, I sound like a doctor or a scientist or a specialist. Um, um, and in some senses, I am. I just don't have any quote unquote certifications, but that doesn't mean I can't know stuff. Um, it's kind of like Admiral Lewis Strauss said in Oppenheimer. He said something to the effect that's Robert Downey Jr.'s character in Oppenheimer, by the way. In the movie, he said something to the effect, in the movie, he said something to the effect um, of genius is no promise, or of like genius is no guarantee of wisdom. And it's just like, huh, that's fascinating. And also, I feel as though I'm a progression of that in the sense that, like, sure, I was born with a lot of genius, but the pains of life have have granted me with more wisdom than what I know what to do with. And that's a large part of why these videos are so, as some people might say, all over the place. But that being said, um, personally, like I started off as being a very simple person, and the world sort of forced me to get complex as a way of understanding itself and my place in it, which that's fascinating. I just acknowledge that I have a place in the world despite often feeling as though I don't have a place in the world. So maybe there is a place that exists. Maybe that starts here with you. Maybe that starts here with me speaking with you. Either way, um, if you made it this far, very nice. I appreciate you. Um, I hope you got something out of this. Because because I certainly got something out of sharing all these thoughts. This video is probably pushing an hour. This video is probably pushing an hour at this point. But that being said, I hope that you really enjoyed this hour. Um, I hope that the information that I um share with you, I'm hoping that it resonates slash resonated, or perhaps will resonate. But that being said, it's like the thing is, like, I don't think people are direct enough. I don't think people are upfront, and as like honest with themselves or with other people as I personally think we all should be. And yeah, and the thing is that like yeah, and the thing is that a while ago, like somebody told me that I should like essentially they were saying like, Evan, you should stop pulling your punches. Like when it comes to expressing yourself, like at minimum, the least you can do is is go full force. Like when it comes to expressing like yourself and how you feel, because that's going to help you every step of the way. And so even though it's scary, I'm still doing it anyway. And I'm doing it because I feel as though the first answer that came up was just like, it's all I can do. And so yeah, it's like people are, it's like someone's, it's like people like some important people around me were saying, Evan, you should stop pulling your punches. And it's like, Evan, you should stop pulling your punches when trying to express yourself. And so with that said, this is me practicing. So um yeah, there's no real like resolution for this video. It's more so just spilling my thoughts out. In fact, that's actually, or in fact, I'm gonna change the title of the video to be like something to the effect of, I'm just me spilling my thoughts out. Enjoy your goodie bag or whatever. All right, that's basically it. I love you. I think you're awesome. So glad that you exist among us today, and I'll see you soon. Bye.